Hello, welcome back to Cracking the Cryptic. Well, it isn't April the 1st, but this puzzle is a remarkable instance of normal Sudoku rules do not apply at all. This is a 9 by 9 Sudoku in which we're going to only have to place the numbers 0 to 4. There is a brilliant twist about how we're going to place them, though, and it puts me in mind of... Do you guys remember in Douglas Adams' Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy trilogy, Deep Thought, the computer that tried to find the answer to life, the universe, and everything, calculated that answer as, and the joke was 42, that it was just a number. However, Douglas then wrote sequels in which eventually it was discovered that the question it had been trying to answer was what is 9 times 6? And therefore it had got that wrong. How other people proposed that maybe it had got it right as long as it was working in base 13, in which 9 times 6 equals 5, equals 4 2, rather than 5 4. And Douglas Adams eventually responded, I fear, with a comment that anybody who thought he was trying to make a mathematical joke in base 13 was off base. But I don't see why not. It was brilliant. Anyway, we are going to use a different base today. That is the point of that nonsensical story that I've just told you. What is not nonsense is the Sandra and Nala Hunt Bug Friends, which is our patron reward for the month, just out a couple of days ago. Do check it out. Fantastic puzzles. People have been solving like crazy demons and got through it regularly already. It's a very popular hunt already. The response has been great, and thank you to Sandra and Nala for creating that. And do join us on Patreon for all of the content there, gridogram and connections and crossword videos. Loads going on Patreon every day, and we'd love to have you with us there. Also, well, not every day, but every month, let's say that. Also, of course, the latest merchandise, the Rat Run merch, designed by Marty Sears, the creator of the brilliant Rat Run Sudoku puzzles. And some of them appear on mugs, and some of them appear on shirts, and some of the images appear on mouse mats and coasters and all sorts. And we think it's fun. It was a recommendation from, I think it was somebody else who recommended to us that we ask Marty to design a bit of merch to go with the Rat Run, and he leapt on board. Now, that is, and I mean, there's plenty of other merch as well if you just want ordinary CTC stuff. So do check out the store link. Also, the links in our description field, along with links for our apps, and like Fog of War, and like the worms. So please have a look into some of the stuff in the description field. But the first link is to this puzzle. It's called All Black and White by, don't know how to pronounce, Fidrale, maybe. And here are the rules. They are insane, so pay attention. Place all numbers 0 to 4 in each row and column in binary. Where a number ends and the next one begins is for the solvers to discover. Digits are written left to right, top to bottom. The following rules refer to digits. Well, okay, so what that means is numbers are written left to right, top to bottom. The following rules refer to digits, so only ones and zeros. Digits in cells joined by a white dot are consecutive. Giveaway, they are going to be 0 and 1. Digits along a grey palindrome read the same in both directions, and digits along an arrow sum to the number in the attached circle. And then it does in the instruction, or in the on the app, when you click the link, it does say at the bottom the binary representation of the numbers 0 to 4 are 0, 1, 1 0, 1 1, and 1 0 0. So somehow we're going to have to create 0 to 4 in every row and column. There's no boxes in this puzzle, unsurprisingly. Oh, this is madness. Do give it a try on the link under the video. I don't know what we're going to find. Let's get cracking. I mean, this is one of those instances where I could guess at how long it's going to take, and I could be completely wrong. Indeed, long time is my guess. Right, we've got a given 0. That is... Okay, I mean, I was thinking when I was reading the rules that there's no issue with leading zeros in this puzzle, but that's maybe a little cavalier of me to say that. There is an issue with leading zeros in this puzzle. Only one of the numbers in each row and column can begin with a leading 0, because we are told the binary representation of the numbers 0 to 4 are 0, 1, which begins with a 1, 1 0, 1 1. I want to call it 100. I think what I might do in this puzzle, maybe just to detach myself from the binary business, is to call the numbers we have to put in the rows and columns 0, 1, 10, 11, and 100, just because I understand those numbers better. Because I'm so committed to decimal as a base. Anyway, what I'm going to do is put in a little line in both directions, because if a number begins with 0, it is 0. None of the other numbers in row 1 or column 1 will begin with 0, so these two digits are 1s. And we've got a palindrome, so that's another 1. Now, that is so annoying, because it doesn't mean that row 2 begins with an 11 or column 2 with an 11, because each of them could begin with a single 1. Okay, these white dots are going to mean that there are a number of... These 4 cells are going to contain 2 zeros. How many zeros are in each row? 4 zeros in each row and 5 1s. That's not as helpful as I was hoping, because... Oh, hang on though. Because 2 zeros in those and 1 there means there's 1 0 left for these 3 cells. But now I'm getting quite excited by a thought that has occurred to me. Where does 100 go in this row? Because the 2 zeros can't go on a dot. There's only 1 0 in this group. And I feel like that means 100 has to go here. I'm not sure yet. Let me just... Yeah, it can't start here or here, because you're not allowed to put 2 zeros into this group, because there are 2 zeros there, 1 0 there. There's only 1 0 in this group. It can't have 2 zeros there or there or there. This must be where 100 goes in the top row. I have made a deduction, folks. Now, the next thing... Oh, well, I mean, I can write in 101 based on the white dots. And this is the next number. No. Yes. Okay, I was going to say it could be a 1 and a 0, but we've had the 0 in this row. So that is a 1, that is a 10. And then there's the 1 at the end, and the only other number in the row is the 11. And I know that these are 0, 3, 4, 2, and 1, but I'm calling them 11, 100, 10, 1. And I've done a row. That's not bad. Now, let's keep asking this question about where 100 goes. Ah, no. It's not so good down here. I thought it was going to be good and that 100 was going to have to start at least after this point, but actually that's not necessarily true. This could go 1 0 0. That would obey the white dots potentially. In fact, it definitely would. Wait, every column or row that begins with a 0, that is the number. So I can write in some divisions there. And then after that 0, we have to have a 1, as in the column, the next number must begin with a 1. That's all 5 1s for row 2. So the other digits are all 0. Now I've got some white dots. This puzzle might not turn out to be as hard as I thought. Let's not get ahead of ourselves. Where's the 100 in this row? It's clearly those cells. Where's the 11 in this row? That's a neat question. Oh, I can tell exactly where that is. Then the next digit after that 11 is a 0. And there we go. We've divided it up. 1, 4, 3, 0, 2. Or, as I know it, 100, 11, 0, 10. That's such a strange puzzle. Right, this 1, that's on its own in the next row. There is no number that ends 01. So that number is alone. Then the 0, no, you see, I was going to say this is a 10, but it could be a 1 and a 0, or even an 11 and a 0. I'm getting absolutely confused now. But I love that I've done 2 rows. I'm very, very proud of myself. These circles are crazy, aren't they? Imagine all of those being zeros. But do you know what? I was going to say, I think they could be. Like, what I was going to say is, this is obviously going to be a 1 in the circle. And surely that's obvious because these can't all be zeros. But there is a way to have 3 zeros in a row, in a column or row. And that is by having 100 followed by the number 0. However, that is not going to happen in this column because we've already had the 0. So these can't contain 3 zeros because the only makeup of that is 100, 0. Therefore, there must be a 1 in this group, and therefore I can put 1 there. There's a 1 in that group, so that is 0. Because that 1 is just adding a single 1 and 2 zeros. Now, I don't think it's obvious where the zeros and the 1 go in this. I can't pencil mark 3 cells to show 1, 1 and 2 zeros. So, where does the 100 go in this row? Ooh, yeah. No, bother. I was going to say it cannot be there, and therefore it's got to be here. But now I'm not sure. Because if this was 100, I'm going to call it 100, that would be a 0. All of these cells would be 0. And I was thinking that was impossible for this cell, because we'd have had the 100 and the 10, but that could be the 0. And then we could start with an 11, and that's not impossible. And that's annoying. That is annoying. Oh, okay. This digit is not a 0, because all those would be 0. We cannot possibly start a row with 4 zeros. That digit is a 1. Now, where's the 100 in this column? I've got it. It's got to be there now. Given these digits, yeah, I mean, there's nowhere else it can go. That is the 100. I'm going to sequester it off with digits. This, I don't know whether that's part of the 10 or a 1 and a 0. Now, what are these two? We've got to put 4 zeros in each column and 5 ones. These must both be 1s because we don't have 2 more zeros available. That is the last 0. Oh, well, that's an interesting quandary. This is clearly the 11. And I can draw a line here. But actually, I'm never going to know. There's no rule, I don't think, that is available to tell me whether that is 10 and this is 1 and 0, or this goes 1, 0, 10. So I'm just going to have to accept some uncertainty at the end of the puzzle about how that is made up. Which is a surprise, but in a way it's not a surprise, because how could you make this puzzle so that that was determined? And I mean, I'm not bothered by it. It doesn't upset me. For that to be a 0, we're saying 2 of these are zeros. Okay, the problem there would come in that we'd have used, if that was a 0, that would be 2 of them and 2 more here. That's all the zeros. These would all be 1s. But maybe that's not a problem. This could be 11 and 1 down here. Yeah, I don't think that is a problem. Now, I think that's 100. This isn't 100 beginning here because, right, okay, here's the deal in this row with finding 100 in row 5. It doesn't start there. Well, no, never mind that. One of these is a 1 and 2 of them are zeros. That's going to use 2 of the zeros in the row. Another of the zeros in the row is going to be used on this white dot. There's only one more 0 for these 3 cells. So 100 doesn't start there or there. Oh, bother. I was going to say clearly 100 starts here, but it might start here. I hadn't thought of that. If that was 100, though, these would have to provide 0 and 10. It's possible. Oh, that's annoying. Yeah, I mean, all I really know is that this group contains a 0 and 2 ones. I do think these arrows are incredibly amongst the most helpful markings in this very unmarked puzzle. I mean, my hat is off to the constructor to have included this few markings in a puzzle of this nature. It's weird. Okay, maybe. Right, if that was a 0, these would both be zeros. This column would begin 100, 0. These repeat digits on the palindrome would both be 1s, and this digit can't be a 1 because this row would begin with 00 for the arrow. So that digit is a 0. This is a 0. Oh, where's the 100 in this column? We've only got one. Okay, it's not sure. Or is it? Well, we now know these aren't both 0 because we've had 3 of the zeros in this column. So one of these is a 1 and that digit is a 1. Now I know where the 100 in this row is. I can just write it in at the beginning. Now I can do this arrow with a 1 there. I've got all the zeros in this column now, so everything else is a 1. Right, I separate off that 100. In column 3, that's the 100 at the start as well. Then the 11 in column 3 is clearly at the bottom. Again, I've got this situation with 1, 0, 1, 0, and I don't know how it breaks down. Counting the number of digits in row 3, I get a 0 there. And my 11, this time I do know how it breaks down because the only place for 11 is in the 2 circles. And then I must have a 0 and then a 10. Right, that white dot gives me a 0 here. Now, I've gradually worked this one out. I mean, it was obvious from the start that it couldn't begin with 3 zeros. I then eventually worked out it can't begin with 2 zeros. Can it begin with 1 0? I think it can. I think my reasoning has to end. But I found another row that starts with a 0. The digit after that always has to be 1. $100 in this row. 100 is always a good thing to look for. It could be there. But if it's not, it's going to use the 2 remaining zeros somewhere in the row. Every time I move on in this puzzle, I then come to a point where I think, well, there's nothing left to give me any information. It's obviously not true every time, but it is a feeling that one gets to. That's a pair, one of each. That is 2, so that's going to use the 3rd 0 in this column. Right, where does the 100 go in this column? Because it doesn't. Oh, no. I was going to say it doesn't use that 0, but it might use that one. I was going to conclude excitedly that it goes here, the 100 in column 6. That would have been very exciting, but it's not necessarily true because it could be there. Okay, that wasn't anything. This is, like all the circles, this is quite unlikely to be a 0. That would put 2 zeros here. It would also be the third 0 in its row and its column. And that would, yeah, that's okay. If that was a 0 in this column, there's clearly a 0 on the white dot. So those would become 2 1s. So we'd have 1s in all of these positions in the bottom rows. And even though we're having 5 1s in every row, that's quite a lot to cluster together. I don't know. Oh, but well, let's count 0s and 1s in these 2 columns. No, seriously. We've got 5 zeros left to occur because there are 8 in 2 columns. We've also got 5 1s left to occur. Yes, that's actually very important. Right. None of these that's so weird. I'm right, aren't I? We've used 3 zeros and 5 1s. In each pair of columns, there are 10 1s and 8 zeros. So in this area, let's make it yellow. We have 5 zeros and 5 1s left to go. Now, I am now going to allege that you can never start a row with double 0. This is something I've established in what feels like a painstaking way earlier in the solve. It is right. If you can never start a row with double 0, then each of these pairs has to have a 1 in. And there are only 5 1s to distribute. Let's just colour those differently. So each of these different dominoes has a 1 in. And that's all the 5 1s that are remaining in the columns. So each of these dominoes is a 1-0 pair. I mean, we know that for this one on the arrow, but we didn't know it for the others, and now we do. That feels very interesting. Some of them, 2 of these rows will start with a 0 because we need 2 more zeros in column 1. And 3 of them will start with a 1. Now, this row either starts 0, 1, 0, 0. And if I then ask where is the 100, well, there's only 1 more 0 to come. It must be there. Alternatively, it starts 1, 0, 0. And if I then ask where is the 100, it must be that first one because there's only 1 0 to come. So either this row starts 0, 100, or it starts 100, 0. And either way, I can draw a line there and say that this digit is a 1, which is a peculiar conclusion. And here we will use the 0 and the 100, and we'll have the 11, 10, and 1 left to go. And I can't use that. That's so strange. Because we know there's 1, 1, and 2 zeros here, we know that this is 1 of each. So it's another sort of domino of 0 and 1. I'm now using either yellow or pink to show a 0-1 pair. But now maybe we can work on where the 100 is here, because that's a 1-0 pair, so it's not involved in making the 100. The 100 must use the 2 digits here. That one, the 100 is either there or there, and this digit is a 0, either way round. Well, that is a conclusion, because it gets us some white dot digits. Now in this row, I'm going to ask the same old question. Where's 100? There's a 0 here and a 1, and the 100 is not involving that. It could be here. That could be 100. But then this would be the digit beginning with 0. That would have to be a 10, and we'd get 111 here. But otherwise, the 100 must begin there, I think. It can't begin after that. And these are always going to be ones, these last two. Even if the 100 begins there, the ones are here. If the 100 begins there, the 4 zeros have been used up and they're all ones. I think those two are both ones in any analysis. I mean, I may be doing this puzzle in a weird backwards way, but I don't know. I can only do what I can do. Oh, in this column, we've had the 0. So that 0 has to be preceded by the 1. So I can actually draw a line above that 1. Which means we've had the single 1 in the column. And everything else in the column is 10, 11, and 100. Well, if this is 10, this is going to be 100, and then 11's at the bottom. If this is 100, it's not so easy. Then there are 3 ones down here and a 0 somewhere. I might be able to put a 1 here as a result. Let me just try and figure that one out. If the 100 is here, then these are 10 and 11, and those are both ones. If that's the 10, then we've got 111 still to go, and the 100 must be here, and the 11 must be here because of the white dot. So if that's the 100, we've got 10 and 11, and that's always a 1. But if that's the 10, this is the 100, this is always a 1. And we know on these coloured dominoes that there's a 1 and a 0. So I can put a 0 in there as well. And I don't know if that's 1 and 0 or 10, but I do know that after the 0, I can draw a line. Because unless it's 100, I can always draw a line after a 0. I don't know, it feels a bit weird, but I think that's right. This is either 0, 100 or 100, 0. I mean, I'm clinging to that like a drowning man to a raft. Done the palindromes. Done all the palindromes. I haven't done this. This is a pair of one of each. We've had the 0. So before the 0, that 1, that 1 is not part. I can, before the 0 comes a 1, and then I can draw a line because we've had the 0 in that row. So now we've had 0 and 1. The remaining things we have left in this row are 100, 10, and 11. I don't find that easy to resolve. And in this row, if we started with 0, we'd have a problem with these zeros. Well, we'd never get to 100. If we started with 0, we'd have used all 3 zeros and we wouldn't have achieved 100 yet, and we couldn't get it again. So we've got to start with 1 and then a 0 there. Now there's only 1 0 to come, and this is the 100 at the beginning. That was a much easier thing than the other things I've been thinking about. That 0, well, I don't know this time because we haven't had 0 in the row. But I can draw a line after the 0. It could be a 1 and a 0, or it could be a 10. Now that 1 makes this a 0. The pink domino makes that a 1. And after the 0, we get a line. And therefore, before the next 0, the 1 starts it. So again, in this row, just like in this one, we've started with 0 and 1. Oh, I was going to say, where's the 100? And I don't know. Yes, I do. It can't be 100 here, because then that would start with 0. So the 100 is, in fact, later in the row. And the 11 is there, and that row is complete. 0, 1, 10, 100, 11. Now on this arrow, I can write a 0 there. And now I've only got 1 0 left to come. So the 100 in this row is where we've just found it. And we've started with 0, 1, 100. The remaining things we've got left are 10 and 11. And those digits are both 1s. This row now, we've had 100. Oh, I don't know if that's 10 or 1 0. Doesn't really matter. I've got 1 0 left to put in here. I don't think it can go here. If I was to put the 0 here, oh no, it could. It would go 10, 11, 0, 1. Okay, well, fair enough. Now, in this column, where's the 100? We haven't had it with those 2 zeros. It's got to be the other 2 zeros. Oh, we get a 0 in the circle. Well, that's exciting. Now, I can draw a line after that 0. So we've started this column 0, 10, 1, 100. So that's an 11. All of these 3 columns complete with 11s. That's strange. Anyway, that 0 is giving us some zeros for the bottom 2 rows on the arrow. That's good. In this row, we've had 3 1s. We've got 1 coming on the dot, and we know that the yellow has a 1. So this number must be a 0. And that's a 1 for the count of the column. Now I can surely divide up this column. I can find where the 100 is. Easy. And that's left 0 and 1. And then at the bottom we have 11 and 10. I'm going to take out some colours now. They've done their jobs. Now, what's going on with this complete crazy 1 sequence? This must be 11 and 1 followed by... Well, these numbers are both zeros. Okay, that's easy. So we know where the 100 is in the row. Well, I can't divide up the 1, 1, 1 into 11 and 1. It's either 1, 11 or 11, 1. There's no way of knowing. That's fine. Now, in column 2, where's the 100? It's got to be here. No, it doesn't. It could be below. Oh, bother. Okay, don't know. I think I do know. That's so strange. In column 1, where's the 100? That's a much better question. There's only one place for it to go, and that is here. And that yellow domino says this is a 1, and we get rid of the yellow. And now in that first column, we need a 1 to complete the column with an 11. Yet again, the 4th 11 completing column. And we get a 0 there by using the domino. Now that row's been done. This row, where's the 100? It's got to start here. And there we go. We get a 0 there and a 1 there. And the 100 is over this side, right under another 100. The 11 in the row has to be that pair. So this row goes 10, 11, 0, 100, 1. Or if we were doing it in binary, 2, 3, 0, 4, 1. This row began with a 0, and then a 100, and then a 10, and everything else is a 1, which I can't divide up. I'm going to finish this. This is incredible. That's going to need a 1. Now, where's the 100 in this column? It's at the bottom. Where's the... Oh, that makes that a 10. Where 1 and 11, again, I can't divide up. But that's fine. That's fine. I should stop complaining about that. Right, here in the final column, the 100, oh my goodness, is clearly in the rows 3, 4, 5. The 11 is below it. That must be followed by 0 and 1, and the 10 is at the top. The 100 in this column, everything else in this column is a 1. This is going to finish the puzzle when I put the last 2 ones in. So let me just do some dividing up before I put the last 1 in. This row 4 is going to need 11 and then 10. Row 5. Row 5, it's not at all short, because if that went 1, 0, then it's 11, 10. But if that was a 10, then I could have 1, 11, 0 or 11, 1, 0. It's interesting, only the digits matter in this puzzle. I mean, it's been obvious for a long time, but I'm just pointing it out now. There must be a 0 after the line. I may have put in I haven't done column 2 at all. The hundreds at the bottom, that must be a single 1 before it. The 11 is at the top, then there's a 0. Okay, so column 2 is done. There are a number of other things I could put in to divide up 1s and 11s. I mean, I could just choose randomly, couldn't I? Try and connect up as much of the grid as possible when I'm doing it. In this row, I need a 0. So, I mean, that works. It's not necessarily the only division that's possible, but it works. Have I done enough divisions in the acrosses? Yes. Have I in the downs? I doubt it, because I haven't really focused on that yet. Column 1's okay. Column 2's okay. Column 3, I need to divide up a 1 and a 0 somewhere. I mean, I might have missed one of these 1, 0 divide ups somewhere. I need to do one in column 4. Let's do it there. Column 5 and 6 seem all right. Now, in column 7, I've got 10. Well, I've got 100 at the bottom. I don't know. I mean, I could divide it as, why not, 11, 1, 0. And that's going to work. Then I've got to divide this column as well with a 1 and 11. There we go. So those are divisions that can work. I've obeyed the rules. There is only one pattern of digits in the puzzle, and there we go. Now you can move on to ternary. I ain't doing that. Thank you, Fidrale. That's a lovely idea. I'm not doing that. Don't send me a ternary puzzle. I couldn't bear it, I don't think. But this is it's a very clever idea, but it's a bit crazy. Lovely stuff. I mean, well done if you got through that. And if you did it more handily than me, well, of course, there is every chance of that. You may be a programmer who's really happy working in binary anyway. I had to think of it as hundreds and 11s and things, but there we go. Fun puzzle. Thank you for watching. Thank you for joining us on Cracking the Cryptic. Do interact with the channel. I will see you again soon. Bye for now.